So it's week 2 of playing bass guitar and you have no idea of what to practice. There's so much videos on YouTube and it's just overwhelming. Where do I start? What do I need to practice? Am I practicing right? Etc, etc. But I have a 2-for-1 lesson for you. What do I mean by that? So you're going to gain some musical value and you're going to gain some good physical habits. So the thing with our string instrument is a lot of times we're going to be playing shapes. So it's always good to create good habits from the jump because it's hard to reverse those bad habits once you created those. So I have a great building block lesson, which is going to be based around what we call triads. So what is a triad? Tri means 3. So it's a 3-note chord. So the structure of a triad is usually the root, the third, and the fifth. The root is the lowest note in the structure. The third is one of the identifying notes in the triad. And the fifth is there just because it's the fifth. But okay, in all seriousness, let me go ahead and play a C major scale. And then we're going to be deriving the triads of the C major scale. Let me go and play that C major scale for you. So it's just... Then I'm going to go back. So... okay, so now to apply that information I spoke about earlier, the root, the third, and the fifth. So if we took the first degree or the first note of the C major scale, right? So we're on the 3rd fret of the A string. That would be the root of the C major triad, right? So the next note in the structure would be the 3rd, which is E, which is the 2nd fret on D string. And then the 5th or the 3rd note in that structure would be G, which is the 5th fret of the D string. So it's just like this. This is the shape. So what we want to do is we want to go up the scale and find all the triads. So a way to help you, because what we'll do is we'll keep it even. We'll go across 2 strings. So basically what I'll do, instead of playing the scale in this shape, which you're probably already used to, I'm gonna play this scale on 1 string like this. So that way I set myself up to play those triads easy. So the first one we just played it is a C major triad. So the next one would be that. So that's what we call a D minor triad. So what does this major minor stuff mean? What dictates if a triad is major or minor is the 3rd. So the 3rd is either a natural 3rd or a flattened 3rd. So the 3rd is usually in its natural state just 3, right? So whenever we flatten the 3rd from its natural state, it's going to be a minor 3rd. Again, I hope this is not going above your brains, but just bear with me. So we're deriving the 2nd triad of the C major scale. Like I said, it's a D minor triad. Sounds like this. So the way I got that was I played the root, which is D. That's on the A string, the 5th fret of the A string. And then I play the 3rd, which is the minor 3rd, which I played it on the 3rd fret of the D string. And then I played the 5th, which is the 7th fret of the D string. So it's quite a stretch, but you could also play the 3rd above the root on the same string, which would be the 8th fret. So it'd be D, F, which is the 8th fret, and then that A. We keep the A in the same spot. But you know, if you want to stretch, do the first shape. If you don't want to stretch, do the 2nd shape. But I would suggest a stretch. It's all good training for your fingers. So what we'll do now is we'll analyze, the shapes. So the good thing with string instruments is that you could basically transfer shapes around the neck. So we found the major triad, that shape will be always the same for any major triad. Then we found the minor triad, that shape will be always the same for any minor triad. So since we're in the key of C and we're playing only the notes of the key of C, and we're deriving the triads from each degree while playing only the notes of the key of C, which it means diatonic, right? Because the parent is the C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So we're only playing and deriving from the C major scale. So now when I go to the next note, which is E, that's the 7th fret on the A string, I could use the minor shape that I use on D minor, because it follows the notes, and the next available note is G in the triad structure, which is the 3rd, and then B. So that's the 7th fret on the A string for E, the 5th fret on the D string for G, and then the 9th fret on the D string for B. And it sounds like this, E minor. All right, so the next available note in the scale would be F. So we're going to apply our formula. We're going to see which one works. Is it minor? Oh, that note is not in the scale. That note is not in the scale. So we start with F, and I realize that this note is not in the scale. So then I'm going to use my major template. A is in the scale. So I'll go F, A, C. So that's going to be the 8th fret on the A string for F. That's going to be the 7th fret on the D string for A. And then that's going to be the 10th fret on the D string for C. So it sounds like this together. So now, just by looking at, the notes, if you've been studying the fretboard and you've been figuring out what notes are, then I could pretty much imply or anticipate what's going to happen with the next shape. Here's my starting point. It's on G. So I'm going to go G as the root, and then I'm going to go B, D. Let me articulate that. So that's the 10th fret on the A string, 9th fret on the D string, 12th fret on the D string. That's G major triad. Root, 3rd, 5. Now I'm going to go to A. Again, I could anticipate what the shape's going to be because I know the notes of the C scale. And that's the importance of knowing the notes of the scale. So then A, C, E, right? So how I got that was the 12th fret on the A string is A. The 10th fret on the D string is C. And then the 14th fret on the D string is E. That forms A minor triad. Now the next one is going to be B. The next root, the next available note is B. That's going to be the 14th fret on the A string. And then the next note in the triad is going to be its 3rd. That's a minor 3rd, right? Because D is in the scale of C. So that's the minor 3rd. And then we have this note here. This is a F. But we realize that it's not in the position as the 5, right? So this is what we call a flat 5. So it's not a major triad, it's not a minor triad, it's actually a diminished triad. And basically all of this kind of stuff is just formulas, right? I didn't make it up. So diminished triad is just root, flat 3rd, flat 5. It sounds like that. And then the next note is the octave of the C major scale, which is going to be on the octave of C. And it's just like the one down here, but it's just an octave up. So I know that was a lot of information, but practicing these triads in this way and then playing it in every key, right? You take it to C sharp, D sharp. You take it to every key. So basically what you want to do is you want to use this as building blocks because it will train your ears to hear harmony, because these same triads are being used in your most favorite songs. The most popular songs are using these simple triads. It's just that they're applying musicality to it, right? So they may change the rhythm, or they might alter some of the intervals or the notes in the triad, but it's a triad at the end of the day. So let me play all of these triads together to show you the full complete exercise. So I'll start with the C major triad, D minor triad, E minor triad, F major triad, G major triad, A minor triad, B diminished triad, then C major triad. And then you just practice like this. And then you want to go down. When you build up enough confidence to go up, go down like this. And I'll recommend practicing with a metronome. Find some kind of metronome to practice these triads. But for today, that's all I got. Have fun with these triads. I'm telling you, it's going to create some good habits. You're going to really develop your left hand, your right hand technique just from playing these triads. And it's going to help you learn the notes of the bass guitar. You want to know all of these frets at the end of the day, right? So how do you achieve that? You have to have an exercise like this. And it's valuable because you could also train your ears, and then you'll hear the music and you'll be able to identify these triads. So have fun with this. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you found it really interesting, share it with a friend and drop a comment. I'll see you in the next video.